When I was younger, I was like, oh, acting's my thing. I'm the actor. For a long time, I would connect self-worth with how I did as an actor.
Whether you're booking or not.
Whether I'm booking or not. Like, I hope they like me. I hope they pick me. It's really easy to get tied into like, oh, well, acting's who I am. It's like, no, it's like, it's what you do, it's a job. And that's one aspect of myself, but it's not who I am. No, there's more stuff outside of acting. A big weight kind of lifted off my shoulder, and I feel much freer now when I'm acting, because it's not do or die. You kind of forget that, no, you also have some power in this situation, because it needs to be a good fit for you too. And I want to be challenged as an actor, and that was the one that a role that I could really sink my teeth into. Enjoy the journey. Wins can't be the only thing that makes you happy.
Before we get into this interview, if you could subscribe, it would mean so much to our channel and really help us out. So hit the subscribe button, and I hope you enjoy the interview. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure. So when did you know you wanted to be an actor?
Oh God, grade 10.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I did the civics course in my high school, and it was, I grew up singing. So my parents, when I was younger, they were like, you have to do extracurriculars. And singing was my thing.
Nice.
And so I was going to be a singer, but I couldn't figure out how to do theory. My brain didn't work that way. And so I did the civics course, and I was like, oh, like I would love to do acting. I had been acting all throughout high school and elementary school and stuff like that. And I realized, oh, I could do it as a career. And that was kind of the first kind of inkling of doing it. And I also thought about being a chef, and so I worked as a chef for a bit, and I was like, no, can't really do that. The hours are a bit crazy, even though I enjoy doing it.
Yes.
And so I applied to, in grade 12, did my application for theater school, and that was that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wicked. That's awesome. Have you done musicals?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I have. I've done, in elementary school, I did The Sound of Music.
Amazing.
I was Captain Von Trapp.
Of course.
Yes. And I've done a bunch. They're all escaping me now, because I'm like,
That's all right.
Yeah, but no, I've done musicals, and then my voice dropped, and there's not a lot of roles in musical theater for basses or baritones. A lot of tenor roles for modern musicals, but not a lot for lower voices. And so I do more straight theater now. But yeah, the musicals was my first kind of love. That was how I got into acting. I was Anne of Green Gables. I was Gilbert.
Nice.
And that was one of my first roles ever. But yeah, and then it kind of spinballed into doing more traditional theater and Shakespeare and modern, more contemporary shows.
Yes, because you did Stratford, or you studied in Stratford.
I studied in Stratford, yes.
Yes,
so
excellent. Tell me about that.
You know what? It's one of the greatest experiences I've ever had as an actor. It kind of changed my entire approach to acting. I went to the University of Windsor, and I loved my time there. And the kind of training you get there, the warm-up specifically, is all about, you work out and you warm up and you get your body physically ready. And for me, that didn't really work, because I'm already a very excitable person. And if I did that, I just had a lot of energy, and I was like, I'm just ready to go now. And so when I went to the Stratford Academy, in my second year, it was like the summer between second and third year of university, the coaches there, Ian Watson, the late Ian Watson, he was an amazing man, and Kennedy C. McKinnon were the teachers. And Ian Watson specifically, his warm-up is a cool down. And it's all focus on breath, and it's just focusing you and getting you ready to go. And for me, that just connected on such a different level than what Windsor was teaching me, even though I was taking great things from that. to cool down and just be like, okay, now my mind's at ease, my body's at ease, and I'm just focused on my task at hand.
Yeah.
And it remains to this day one of the best experiences of my life as an actor, because it was just such a cool environment. One, you're at Stratford and you're seeing the plays and surrounded by art, and then also being able to work with these great teachers was tremendous.
Nice. So it was more of like a grounding exercise?
Yeah, it was connecting to the breath and making sure that you were active but not necessarily having to do a workout. It was you knew, like stretching and all those things, and he like dropping in, but just actively cooling down so that your body was like, okay, I am ready for anything that's going to come my way. As opposed to, for me, when I warmed up in a workout sort of way, it got me tense.
Right.
And so then I just had all this energy, and I was like, I'm ready to do the thing.
Yeah.
And it didn't serve me when I was going out to act.
Yeah, it brought you more in the moment.
Yeah.
And so you're ready for anything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was. I was able to do it with my friends. When my friends did the academy with me, and it was just an amazing time. So I'm very thankful for that, because it really changed the course of how I looked at acting.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How so?
I think there's so many things, especially when you're younger, of how you view acting, and I think with focusing more on text work, and I was doing that at Windsor, but it just heightened that kind of drive to go, okay, what am I getting in the text? And then also from the how am I warming up, and how am I really using the tools I have to heighten my craft and get to a point where I can consistently do the thing. And it helped me get consistent in what I was doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Have you performed Shakespeare, like in a Shakespeare play?
Yeah.
How is that? That personally terrifies me.
I mean, it's awesome. I've done a few. I did at school, and then also since I've been out of school. And one was actually an amazing. They were both amazing experiences, but the one was called Shakespeare in Hospitals with a company called Spur of the Moment Shakespeare. And they would they would pick a theme. So ours was home, if I remember correctly. It was many years ago now. And we would take that theme, and they would take certain monologues and scenes from Shakespeare plays and like mash them together, and then create a narrative using those scenes and monologues. And then we would go and we would bring it to hospitals and perform for them. And it was so rewarding, and the people, we would go to rooms and we would perform it in rooms, but we'd also do it in more open areas in the hospital. And it was so rewarding to get the feedback from the patients there and the people that were there, of having that experience, because Shakespeare, it's the biggest challenge as an actor, I think, to be able to go through that and really dive into the language and understand what you're saying, and then go on the ride of what it provides as an actor. And that's always been my mountain, is to do Shakespeare and do it at a really high level, because you always want to be challenged as an actor, and for me, that's what I find, gives me the most challenge.
Yeah, 100%. It scares me because I've said this to Sean, who is a mutual friend of ours, is everyone in the audience knows your lines. And so if you mess up, they'll know. Yeah. And then I can't improv my way out of it because it's such a different language. Well,
there's also the rhythm of it too.
Yeah.
Like Shakespeare has a rhythm, and it has a tempo, and it's the heartbeat, the iambic pentameter, that really people feel it when they're, oh, wait a minute, that's not quite right, and and so it's to be able to go through that and do your homework and go, okay, what's happening here? Oh, the iambic's off a little bit. What does that mean for my character?
Right.
And so then you go on that journey with the audience, and I love talking to the audience. That's one of my favorite things. I love it. It gives me the biggest high. And when you're doing a Shakespeare monologue or a soliloquy, just get in there and you see people in the trenches with you, and it's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. That's wicked. Yeah. That's so cool. Are you union?
Yes, I just got my union card.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
How'd you get to union?
So I did a contract this summer in Port Stanley, the Port Stanley Festival Theatre. Sorry.
Okay.
I was able to get my equity card, and then ACTRA was doing a promotion, I guess, at the time, and where if you were equity, they waived your initiation fee to join ACTRA. So I was able to get my equity card, and then through that process, joined ACTRA. And so now I'm equity and ACTRA, and I can have all the fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so with getting into equity and getting that contract, was it just an open call that they were doing for auditions?
So it was a general audition. And I had applied to it, and I did the whole thing, and I went in, and it was this specific audition was for a myriad of theaters in Ontario.
Okay.
They did like a joint audition.
Yeah.
And I had been brought in by Port Stanley and the late artistic director Simon Joines, and I did my audition, and it was such a fun room, and
so nice.
It was an awesome time. And so I emailed Simon after, and I went, "Thank you so much for bringing me in. I had such a great time. I would love to be a part of the season, and if not, all the best." And then he asked me to do a specific audition for a self-tape for a show, and then he cast me, and the rest is history.
Amazing.
So it was really an awesome process. And then to be able to do the show, one of my best friends was the stage manager for the show.
Oh, no way.
And so we got to work together for the first time since university.
Oh, wow.
And it was so awesome to see him do that. I'd gone to shows that he'd stage managed since, but to be able to work with him on a show, and to be able to see him backstage doing his thing was so cool, and he's so good at his job. Jordan McLean, awesome guy. Shout out. And it was just so lovely to be able to have my first equity show be with one of my best friends. And
that's
it was
so
really
nice.
It was really special and a very memorable time. And Port Stanley is a beautiful little city. I don't know if you've ever been out to Port Stanley, but
maybe once.
Right by the beach, and we were there in peak summer, and it was a great time.
Wicked. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Do you find self-tapes for theater weird?
Yes.
Because how do you just pretend you're in the room but put it on tape, like energy-wise? Because film acting and theater acting is different. So that's why I'm thinking theater on a self-tape.
I think it depends. I feel like I've done it both ways when I have a self-tape for theater. I think if I look at my sides and I go, well, this demands a certain energy, you have to go there. Yeah. So they can see that you can do it. But if it's a more reserved scene, which some are in theater, then I go, I'm gonna dial it back, and I'll do it maybe a bit more filmically, or whatever.
More intimate.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If you have the opportunity to do a intimate scene, even for theater, but you're doing a self-tape, you gotta use what you have, right? And if it doesn't feel right to go big and do it for a theater, I do it more intimate. But I've done it both ways, where the show out in Port Stanley, I was a bigger energy character.
You remember this fly.
Yeah, I know. We'll get them.
I know.
But it all depends. You have to tailor the acting to what the scene demands. If it's a general audition and you're just like, I'm doing monologues, I find that really challenging. Yeah. Because you're like, well, I'm just doing monologues, and I guess I'll do contrasting to show what I can do if I can go big and I can go be a bit more intimate. But I don't know if that answers your question, but that's...
No, it definitely does, because it did not compute in my head to do theater auditions on self-tape, but I've heard it more
It's happening more and more now. And yeah, it can be a bit funky because it's nice to have that response in a theater audition.
Yeah.
Where you go, okay, I can feel the
like
vibe of the room.
you said, like the audition, it was a warm, like, welcoming room. Like that's what you want.
Yes. Give me that positive reinforcement.
Right?
Give me that energy. I'll lap it up.
It's just you and your home and whoever you're reading with, and then you send it off into
after you've done 50 takes of the same monologue, and your eyes are just bleeding. That was a bit of a different take. It's never. Right. Shout out to Mel, my wife, for being my reader and camera person and lighting person. And also the mother of my child. Yeah,
your new dad, first-time dad.
9.5 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We do all the self-tapes at night because during the day is no bueno. She my little one is a joy. And
nice.
Mel's a great mother, and so thank you for letting me do the thing and looking after Annalise when I need to go out and be an actor.
Were you worried that you'd have to adjust your career with a new baby?
I mean, I think it has to happen regardless of whether you want it to or not.
Your life will adjust.
Your life changes.
Shocking.
Yeah. Wait, a new person's in the world? What? No, it's. I think I made, and Mel and I, my wife, talked about it. My wife. I keep on saying that. Her name is Mel. I'm just going to leave it at that now. So Mel and I talked about it, and she is very supportive. She's very, if acting is what I want to do, then we're going to do it. And, but you have to have conversations about, when contracts come up or opportunities come up, and you go, well, that's 7 months away. And, I'm not going to be able to come home. And is it worth it to be gone for that period of time while Annalise is growing up? And it's being a father has really shifted what's important to me in acting.
Okay.
And in terms of before, it's like, I'll just do everything that comes my way. Give me all the things, I'll do that.
Exactly.
And then you go, well, do I want to do that contract where I'm not going to be able to see my daughter? Is that worth it? And you gotta make judgment calls. And part of the reason why I wanted to join the unions was I was doing a lot of commercial auditions, and that's great if you want to do commercials and docudramas and all that stuff. But I kind of felt I had done that, and I wanted to focus more on episodic work and stuff. That's what I wanted to. I want something I can bite my teeth into and sink my teeth into. And with AJ, I would get a commercial audition and be like, I gotta take, we have a child now. I can't just spend however much time it takes to do a commercial audition, and Mel is trying to make AJ be quiet and all those things. It just ended up not being worth it to me.
Right.
And so I, had a big shift of that, and I go, okay, you got to focus on what's going to make you happy as an artist. And even if that means you're going to get maybe less auditions coming through, the auditions that do come through, I'm going to care about them, and they're going to be quality. I'm going to, and even if, commercial auditions come through, they're not going to be the main thing.
Right.
And there's not going to be so many of them that I'm having to annoy Mel and be like, hey, I got to go do another one. Can you look after AJ? And so, it was a big shift in priority, because ultimately AJ is the most important one. And my acting career is a bit more focused now. And so it's been a change, but a good change.
Yeah, I like that, because then, especially if you don't you're not in love with the character that you're doing, you're do I want to be away from my family for this character? So it's nice that way. It allows you to be no.
Yeah, and it's it's very, very, I have more important things. And it's also made me realize too, I for a long time I would connect self-worth with how I did as an actor.
Whether you're booking or not.
Whether I'm booking or not. And becoming a father and, being able to be with AJ, it's like, oh no, there's more stuff outside of acting. There's more important things outside of acting, and that's one aspect of myself, but it's not who I am. And to be able to come to that realization, a big weight kind of lifted off my shoulder, and I feel much freer now when I'm acting, because it's not do or die. It's not my importance as a person, my self-worth as a person isn't dependent on this gig or not.
Yes.
I can just go out and do what I love, and if I don't book it, okay, well, I still have this amazing family at home, and I still have all these other wonderful things I get to do. I'm not doing that gig, and another one will come along, and maybe I'll book that one. But if not, that's life, and you move on and you go on to the next one, as they say.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. Yeah. Congratulations for that too. That's a great spot to be in, though.
Yeah, it's very freeing. I think it's so often, as actors, it's really easy to get tied into like, oh well, acting's who I am. It's like, no, it's like it's what you do. It's a job. And you love it, but it can't define you to the point where if you're not where you want to be, that you're like, well, I'm the worst. I'm scum. I don't deserve things, and Mel has tried continually over the years, has tried to, knock it into my system, and I was getting there. But, having AJ, it was like, oh, right. Yeah, other things are happening in the world that matter.
Yeah.
Yes, be free, Mark. So,
amazing. Yeah. I love that. And you work with IATSE
873,
as well,
yes,
right?
Local 873. And
amazing.
It's been a really cool experience. I work in kind of the construction category.
Okay. Nice.
And so I get to kind of build the sets. I'm a general laborer, so I make sure that all the sets are clean and make sure that no tools get left behind and stuff like that. But it's really cool to be able to see the behind the scenes as well as when you've been in front of the camera, and just understand all the work that goes into making these shows and these movies happen, and how many people are involved and how much of a production it really is. I think sometimes when we're in front of the camera, it's easy to go, well, that's all it's like kind of happening, and I'm here, I'm like doing I'm on my phone, and then but to be in IATSE and be like, oh right, there's so many people involved, and there's so many cogs, and I'm just this really small part in the overall process. It's also it's humbling, in a way, and you go, oh, I'm just like, we're all doing our jobs, and I want to make sure that, I honor these other people that are working so hard as well. And it's been really, really an awesome experience to just be a part of that, the scene in a different way, because we've all done the different Joe jobs, and it kind of when I'm not working, to be able to be somewhat a part of the industry through IATSE is nice, I've done the serving gigs and stuff, and it always at a point goes, oh well, I want to be there, and so it kind of helps ease that feeling somewhat, which is nice.
It's just a different creative outlet.
That's it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and
I love watching the behind the scenes stuff.
Gosh.
We need to bring deleted scenes and bonus features back.
Yes, please.
Oh my God, I love those so much.
Right? My dad loves deleted scenes. Deleted scenes and behind the scenes.
Yes.
He will buy the movie, and then he will go and he will watch all the behind the scenes, and he'll tell the family all about what they watched behind the scenes.
Exactly. Every time I'm watching that movie, I'm like, did you know?
Yeah, Mark, this was so cool. Yeah, no, I know, Dad. It's awesome.
Right? So fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's okay. Have you ever worked on a set and then got booked for that set?
Yes.
No way.
Just recently, actually.
No way. Which set are you allowed to say?
So I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I'll tell you.
Tell me later.
But yeah, it just happened recently, which was really cool. That's why I have to grow. Normally I'd be more trim in my beard.
But you gotta grow it out?
But I have to grow it out.
Is that a clue? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know, maybe. But yes, I'm shooting on the 28th, so they're like, you have to grow it out for all of October. So
nice.
Mal's not happy about, especially this part right here. She's like, you can trim that. I'm like, I don't know if I can.
Rules are rules.
Sorry, babe.
Let it be.
Let it be. Maybe they won't cast me otherwise.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so it's been really cool. Actually, I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool because now I know some of the people, so like I'm wondering if I'm gonna see them and.
They're like, hey, what are you building today?
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm an actor.
I'm an actor. Yeah. I'm here to perform a part in your show.
Watch this art.
Don't mind me. I'm just acting.
I love it. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So how did you get a part of IATSE? Like when did you, how long have you been with IATSE first?
So, I always screw this up, right?
I don't know.
So, I think I joined as a permit in 2017.
Okay.
And I was able to get in. I have some family that's in IATSE.
Okay, nice.
And so, I put in my application and I put their names down. They said I was a good person. And I was like, come on.
I swear, they'll say I'm a good person.
Yeah, they'll say it, please. I'm great. And then I did, at the time, I was doing a bunch of kind of random gigs. And so I did in 2017, I did one day on a set for What We Do in the Shadows. They were bringing the set to Toronto because it was filming somewhere else, and then I think for their second season they brought it to Toronto.
Okay.
So I was helping unload the set from wherever it was coming from, and I had another job I was doing the next day, and so I couldn't go back the next day because at that time it was like you were just a daily if you came on.
Right, yeah.
And then, excuse me, I'm so burpy. I apologize, everyone.
We'll allow it.
Thank God. Oh my goodness. But then I kind of went off my radar for a while, and then COVID hit, and I was like, okay, I kind of need to do work, and so I started to put my call in, and I kind of started to do it more full time in 2020, I believe. And I was working on my family's crew, and they helped me. I was very green at the time, and so they put up with me for a while of not knowing what I was doing, and I became a member last year. So I've been there for quite a bit.
Nice.
For about 3 years full time.
Okay. Do you have a very creative family then?
I do.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Lucky duck.
So it's really fun. Our Christmas gatherings are wild. We do a lot of songs. But yeah, my mom's a painter and a pianist, and my dad plays guitar, and I have 3 older brothers, and they all do a musical instrument,
Nice.
violin, the flute, piano, and I'm a singer.
The whole band.
We got a whole
one family.
No, it's wild. That was my parents' big thing was musical instruments, sports, extracurricular. And
Nice.
so we all became a band. We when we were younger, we had rock band in our house, and it was many late nights on rock band. But yeah, we all, and all my brothers are infuriating because so when I was younger, I was like, oh, acting's my thing. I'm the actor. And then my oldest brother was like, I'm going to do acting too. So he did acting. And he was very good at it. I was like, well, that's not fair. And then Michael, who's the brother that's just older than me, was like, I'm also going to act. And I'm also going to be really good at it. I'm like,
What?
no,
I
you
need a
can't.
shot.
No, this was my thing. You can't just take over. I'm going to do it professionally, so none of you guys can do it professionally. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll do other things. So Richard became a lawyer, and Michael is a nanotech engineer. So they were like, we're going to be opposite ends of the spectrum from you. Like, thank you. Stay in your lane.
That's right.
Yeah, this is my. I'm the artist. You guys go do professional things over there.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Stay in the science.
Yeah, stay in the sciences, guys. Gosh.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it's nice
that.
to have that multiple disciplines under one roof. It makes family get-togethers are very exciting.
They must be.
They can be a hoot and hollering good time. There's a lot of terms being thrown about. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. And who's your agent? Before I forget to ask.
Kat McFarlane at DaCosta Talent.
Excellent. Shout out.
Shout out. She's amazing. I love her.
Have you had other agents as well, or is this your first?
I have. I've had 2 other agents.
Okay.
And it's always just been kind of when I left or whatnot. It was just, I always felt it was just time. Like whether or not I had a good relationship with my agent or not, it was just like, okay, I think it's something has grown stale here, and I just need a different kind of pathway forward, or someone just new to look at who I am and see me.
Yeah, that's true. That's important.
So I think sometimes you guys get stuck in a rut, and you go, okay, well, we're just kind of banging our head against the same place and not changing.
Yeah.
And just change is
a pair of fresh eyes.
Yeah. And Kat is amazing, and we have a lot of conversations about the business and about where she sees me and where I see myself, and it's lovely to have that kind of back and forth where you can go, okay, let's have a discussion about what we're focusing on, and let's be a team. Let's be a team, and I think that's what the best agents actor relationship is, that right, where you're a team and you're working with each other as opposed to one person working for the other person.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Yeah.
And when you were doing agent meetings with all the agents that were dying,
so many agents, all of them.
What made you go with DaCosta and with Kat?
I think just she had an openness to her, and I felt like she was honest with where she saw me and where she saw my career going, and yeah, I think that she just, it's hard to pinpoint what's like, okay, this was the thing. It's like, I find when you're able to have a conversation with someone for a while and to go, yeah, that's it. That's like, this is what I want this relationship to be. Because I think so often, when I was a younger actor, you would go into these agent meetings and go, oh my goodness, I hope they like me. I hope they pick me.
Yeah, 100%.
And you kind of forget that no, you also have some power in this situation, because it needs to be a good fit for you too. And Kat, when we talked, it was just like, yeah, this feels right. This feels like I can we can make something happen here, and we can be honest with each other about if something's not going right, we can address it.
Yeah,
and we can, which is so important, right? Because I mean, especially the way the industry is now, it's right now is a slow time, and it's easy when it's like that to one, get down on yourself, but two, get down on your agent and saying, well, clearly they're not working for me.
Yeah, it's easy to point fingers when things aren't happening.
It's very easy.
Guilty.
Yes, right. As we all are, right? It's like, you haven't done anything for me lately.
Yeah, have you even submitted me for anything? Yeah.
And with Kat, we have a very open dialogue, and we have, if I'm feeling any sort of way, I can say, hey, what's going on? And, is it my stuff? Do we need to update that? Do I need to update that?
Right.
And we can have an honest conversation about that. So it's just a very, very lovely relationship, and I'm very thankful for it.
Please don't drop me. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you had a favorite project that you've worked on? Even like, if it's too much to do, like your whole career, like the last 5 years or so, maybe.
Oh God, I think I'll give two.
Okay.
I think the one that gave me that was the most challenging for me was a show I did with a company called Fourth Line. Shout out. They're out in Millbrook. It was a show called Wounded Soldiers, and it was a very heavy show. I played a soldier that had PTSD from the war, and there was just a lot of stuff in it, and it was one of those things where, you know, I want to be challenged as an actor, and that was the one that a role that I could really sink my teeth into, and, you know, be like, oh yeah, there's a lot here to mine and to, you know, to get into, and it was just such a tremendous project, and everyone working on it was amazing, and yeah, it was just such a, despite the subject matter, such a joyful place to be in, and yeah, and then I think my second one would be Bigfoot that I did this summer in Port Stanley. Just to be able to work with Jory was just so special. Yeah, and so that it holds a special place for me.
Amazing.
And it was also very recent, so I'm still passing over it.
Still on cloud 9 over that one. That's awesome.
You know, also, the Glory of Living.
The Glory of Living.
The King Black Box was also a delight. You know, we had, as Sean, when he was on the show, said there was such a great group of people working on it, and you know, the cast was just so, everyone was so in it and so ready to come in and just give it all they had. And you know, it's whenever you're part of a group like that, it's always just like, yeah, let's like make someone fucking fantastic,
right?
And yeah, to be able to be in a room with artists like that, it's always a special time.
Amazing. And they're affiliated with Raw.
With Raw, yes.
And it was where you do classes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
How long have you been with Raw?
You gotta stop asking these time questions, because I don't know, Allison.
Couple years?
Yeah, a couple years.
Right.
Yeah, I like, let's say 3 years.
Nice.
I've worked a lot with Grisha, and just the way they look at acting and stuff like that has been really helpful for me, and the technique, and yeah, it's always when you find a home of people that you go, oh yeah, this just like sits well with me. This approach just always feels good, you know, and to, again, working with people that really care about acting and about being there and creating a community is something special to be a part of.
Nice.
So Raw, love you guys.
Shout out.
Shout out.
What's your biggest takeaway from doing classes at Raw?
I think the biggest takeaway is you have to do your homework and then let it go and be in the moment.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
And that's the hard part. Which is, you know, that's the hard part. But
you're like, no, but I planned this so perfectly.
Yeah, yes. You have to believe that, one, you've done enough homework, and that, two, it's going to be there, and that you don't have to present it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's been the biggest thing, is you go, I've done my work.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to be here with you and live this. And that's fun. And to be able to have joy in that moment regardless of if it's what kind of scene it is. And just like the fuck it, you know, you gotta say, hey, yeah, I'm here, fuck it, let's go, let's ride, and I'm gonna be here with you, you're gonna be here with me, and I'm gonna try and get what I need from you, and really making it about the other person as opposed to what's going on with me. I think that's another big thing. Is I used to be a very emotional actor and be like, what's happening with me? Am I upset? Am I sad? Whatever. And you go, well, no, what do you need from the person? What do I want from this person across from me? And how am I going to go about getting that? You know, and that's been a big thing too. Of it's not about myself. It's about my scene partner and getting what I need from them. Nice. Yeah.
I love that. So what roles do you typically get auditions for, and what roles would you love to do? Like, are they the same? Are they different?
So I think I generally get bad guys. I get bad guys a lot. I think I'm a pretty goofy person.
I was like, a bad guy surprised me a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
But I think on camera, maybe I'm wrong. I'm a bit more severe.
Okay.
Like, you know, but yeah, in theater, I tend to get more goofy people than serious people, but on film, I tend to be more dramatic.
Okay.
And I think I tend to go towards dramatic more anyway, because I like drama. I like being able to, you know. I find when I'm in a comedy, I'm too much, because I'm like, oh, there's so much to do here. Let's see what's happening. Whereas in a more dramatic piece, I need to restrain myself, and that takes a lot of more effort for me, and it's more of a challenge. So I tend to want to do those more. But yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Drama's good to have that all bottled up too.
Yeah.
I find too, because then you can, as a viewer, you can see it and feel it like bubbling up out of you.
Yeah.
Like that there's more happening inside.
Well, and I think, like, you know, rightly or wrongly, that's kind of like there's more happening in drama, which I don't think is necessarily the right attitude to have for myself, because I think there can be dynamics in comedy as well. But yeah, it's like, yeah, there's like, you can play with more, I think, in drama, but there's also a lot you can do with comedy. So, you know, I need to adjust my thinking, Allison. Equal opportunists.
That's what we're here for.
Yes.
Open your mind.
Oh, come on, Mark. Jeez Louises.
Is there anything that you wanted to talk about more, or wanted to talk about that we didn't touch on at all?
I don't think so. I think we've had a great chat.
I thought it was a fantastic chat as well. Good. I'm glad you feel the same.
Amazing. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
I have two final questions.
Oh my good, two final questions. Okay.
That's right. My first question is, what advice you would give to your younger self?
Enjoy the journey. Yeah, like, I think so often we get focused on what our goals are and like where we want to be, and my dad tells me this all the time. The journey is something to enjoy, and you know, when you get to the destination, like, okay, well, I'm there now, but do I remember like all the experiences I had to get to that point? Yeah. And yeah, so like, you know, and enjoy what you're going through, and it's okay to be where you are. You know, that's fine. If you have a goal, that's great, but be where you are and make efforts towards that goal, but don't be upset if you don't get that thing right away, because there's growth to be happening when you don't get something that you want. And that's important to go, okay, how can I learn from this moment, and how can this help me, as opposed to being a disaster and throwing me off kilter and whatever. Yeah,
nice. I like that. Yeah, definitely enjoy. I find too, if you're only happy about the destination, And why are you in this? It's such a rough process sometimes that you're like, if you don't enjoy it.
Well, I think it's also, wins can't be the only thing that makes you happy. Right? Like, if that's all it is, those are few and far between. Right? There's only so many things you can do to get a win. Right? And so it's much more, for myself in the past couple of years, I've gotten a lot more out of the industry going, okay, let's enjoy this process of going after my goal, but being okay when it's not right there. And it takes pressure off yourself too. To like,
yes.
Like I will, like, just before COVID, I had kind of like fallen out of love with acting. And I just wasn't enjoying it. Whether it was what the projects I was doing or whatever the case may be, I kind of gotten to a point where like I'm just like, I don't like it. And then COVID happened, and the world shut down, and I was forced to reevaluate a lot of stuff. And it was only kind of as we were kind of coming out of COVID, and my wife and I, we went to a show, and I was like, I haven't felt that itch in a while of like wanting to be on stage or be in front of a camera, and I have it, and that's fun. That like, I remember what that felt like being on stage. That's a really cool experience that I get a lot out of. And then it began to roll, and my perspective had changed a lot of like, okay, let's just try and do things that make you happy in the industry, as opposed to doing it for getting to a certain point, or whatever you're doing it for. But just I want to focus on things that make me happy. So those are the projects I'm going to focus on, and if they come my way, great, and if not, I have to go out and find them. Because I think it's so easy when things aren't happening, you're not getting wins, to sit and go, well, nothing's happening for me. I'm not getting anything. Shoot.
Yeah.
And that was a very long tangent.
No, I liked it. We'll allow it.
Thank God. Oh my goodness.
Cut you mid-sentence.
And we're done. Oh man. I'm sorry.
What would you tell your younger self? Cut.
Yeah. He doesn't need to hear that. I'm sorry.
That's hilarious. No, that was great. It's so true. Yeah, you really do have to like the process.
Yeah.
You really do. And my last question for you is, what would you name this chapter of your life if you could give it a title?
Oh my God, that's a great question.
Thank you. I borrowed it from a company that will not sponsor me.
Well, we won't talk about them, will we? What would I name this chapter of my life? The dad years.
Dad years. Yes.
Yeah.
Aw, that's cute. Shout out
AJ.
AJ? Yeah. Shout out AJ.
Annalise, Josephine, love you.
Aw, so cute.
Yes, she's a cutie.
Love. Excellent. I like it. Well, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you for having me. This was delightful.
Excellent. Good. I'm glad.
I was so nervous.
Were you?
I mean, I saw Sean, and I was like, oh my goodness, he's such a good talker.
I know. It's all edited.
Well, now we know, Sean.
You should see all the garbage he said. I'm just kidding. We had to cut a lot from his.
Oh my goodness.
I'm joking, Sean. We love you.
We do love Sean. Sean is amazing.
Love Sean. Sean is the #1 cheerleader.
Right? He's just the greatest of all time.
He is. He really is. Shout out Sean.
Sean, you lovely bastard.
Well, thanks again for being on the podcast.
Me.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this interview. And again, if you liked it, hit like, comment below your favorite part, and be sure to subscribe. It helps us out so much. And if you'd like to donate to help keep this podcast going, you can head to my website, AllisonMullings.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next interview.